everybody, I'm Deanna. You might have joined us earlier. We did a couple live demos at the Edwards Demonstration and Learning Center. Well, right now we're at one of our secure facilities within the Peoria area, and we're getting ready to take a tour of the Fleet Monitoring Center. Here with me is Mark. He's a Fleet Monitoring Advisor in the center, and he's going to give you a tour. But make sure you hang out with us afterwards. We'll do a quick Q&A session to get rid of any of those questions you might have. It's all yours, Mark.
Thanks, Deanna. As she said, I'm Mark. I'm a CMA, a Condition Monitoring Advisor. I work here in the Fleet Monitoring Center, and my role is to monitor equipment and try to help the customer succeed. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Fleet Monitoring Center today. We're going to talk about EM solutions and specifically condition monitoring. So let's talk EM solutions, equipment management solutions. When I talk about EM solutions, there's 5 levels, and we're going to focus on the first 3 today. We're going to talk about connecting the assets, being informed, and advising the customer. So let's focus a little bit on level 1, access. Level 1 access, before you can do anything, you need to connect that machine. Having that machine connected as a customer, you can get important information. You can get fuel consumption, hours of operation, where the machine is located at, any events or diagnostics that might be generated. Right now, there's over 350,000 connected assets. This map on the wall behind me, every yellow dot represents an asset that's connected. So that data and information comes into not only the customer, but to Caterpillar. And again, that information is used to help you succeed. Now, as a customer, you start down the process of having your machine connected, level 1 access. So now you're receiving that data. You can partner with your dealer and move to level 2 inform. The level 2 inform report gives you a report that compares your fleet against other fleets in your region. Wouldn't it be important to know, are you using the more or less fuel than other fleets in your region? How about idle time? That could be important information to the customer. How do you compare against others? So as you take this information in, again, it's a partnership, customer and the dealer, with Caterpillar helping in the background. So that moves us to where I'm at. Again, this is level 3 advise. I'm a condition monitoring advisor. I look at the information from a condition monitoring standpoint, and I try to advise the customer, along with the dealer's help, as to what they should or should not be looking for. So let's move on over to the Fleet Monitoring Center and talk a little bit about that. One of the things that a lot of the customers will ask us is, well, what about my information? How do I know it's secure? So first off, let's talk about the information is secure. It's in a secure building, the badge access in the building. But not only that, you might have noticed the window behind me was fogged over. That window can be electronically fogged and unfogged in order to keep the information secure behind the wall. So if you're a customer and we're talking to you inside the center, we can fog that window so nobody can see your information. Let's move into the center. So now we're in the Fleet Monitoring Center. And within the Fleet Monitoring Center, there's about 5,000 square feet. There's 43 desks. All the desks are situated about the same. 3 monitors. It gives us the opportunity to look at equipment, do some investigations, some analytics. We also have 3 conference rooms in here. And it's a mix of group of CMAs, condition monitoring advisors, some people working on analytics, algorithms, improving the processes, helping the dealers with their processes. So within the Fleet Monitoring Center, we take all the elements of condition monitoring. We might take information from CAT Inspect. We might take electronic data. We can get information from the site, information from repair history and fluid sampling. When you take all that information and you put it together, it's kind of like building a puzzle. You take a piece of a puzzle and you pick that puzzle piece up and you look at it and you say, this piece will fit somewhere in this. It may be important. Let's say it's white and it looks like it belongs where the white picket fence is in this puzzle. Now, that one piece doesn't jump out. It doesn't fit right off the bat. But as you bring in pieces from all these other elements, you bring in some repair history or some inspection data or a fluid analysis, now that piece starts to fit in the puzzle. And instead of just giving the customer a clue as to, you have something wrong with your machine and you may not need to go look at it, now we can give them a case. We can say, looking at all the data as a whole, this is the direction we think we can move you to. And that's the role of the CMAs here in the center, is really, again, to help the customer succeed. Let's take a moment, walk this direction, and we'll see if we can catch a CMA doing his job. Andrew, do you have a minute?
Yeah, sure.
So this is Andrew, one of the CMAs here in the center. Take a minute and explain what you're working on today.
Sure. So right now we're monitoring a 980M wheel loader. It's a CAT training asset that we've got here locally. Recently it's been tripping some events for after treatment DEF dosing lines, not purged, forced shutdown with high exhaust temperature, and delayed engine shutdown override. So these are probably all related. What happened probably is that the operator just shut the machine down, a hard stop, didn't allow the after treatment system to cool off, didn't allow the DEF to purge back the tank out of the lines. So that can cause some issues down the road, for this machine and for that customer, especially in cold climates. We want the DEF to purge back out of those lines so it doesn't freeze and cause issues with the pump or the injector. We want to shut it down not too hot, so we want to let it run for a little bit, after, to let that DEF injector cool back down a little bit to not cause any problems there either. So it's definitely something that can cause a headache for the customer down the line if we don't communicate this. So this is probably something that we probably want to communicate here in the near future.
Okay, so you're investigating it currently. What's your next step? What do you do after you've done your investigation and you've come up with a case you can provide?
Yeah, so once I determine this is something that I probably want to go ahead and communicate out to the customer, I'll do a little bit more digging and more research. We use we have a ton of different information available to us. We use SIS a lot. You can get into troubleshooting, you can get into systems operations, you can get into current software, you can get into service publications, service magazines, service letters that may need to be applied to that serial number that might help out with this issue. We also use a couple other programs that we can look into the service history of the machine to see everything's been done to that machine when it's in a dealership getting worked on. We can see all that to see if maybe that had something to do with a particular event that we're seeing. SOS, fluid analysis we can get into. We can see all that to see all those different compartments and how they've trended over the life of the machine. We also can use Vision Link here, which we use quite a bit to look at system details. Will show us the current software in the machine. We always want to make sure that the software is current. Utilization, we can see it's just too high. So hours and location, we can see asset utilization to see kind of when the machine was run. Fuel utilization to see fuel burns and idle time, stuff like that. Payloads, we can see. We have maintenance records in here. We have a ton of information available to us. So once I determine it needs to be communicated, I'll do research in all those different areas, and then I'll start putting a recommendation together. And when I do a recommendation, I like to do it kind of like a story. I'll explain what the situation is, what the problem is, and what effect that can have long term on the machine. So the customer's going to want to know if we don't fix this, what impact is this going to have financially, with repairs, with loss of production, etc. So he wants to know that. So I'll try to explain that in there, and then I will give my recommendation on what we need to do to correct it and fix it to save them money, and not having the machine down in the future. So once I get all that together, I'll write that up and I'll send it off to the site manager. The site manager then will probably cascade it down to the appropriate people within his group and get the situation fixed to where we don't have any loss of production or downtime.
Thanks, Andrew. So then the important information included in that is he used multiple tools in order to do his research, sends out that recommendation. The Vision Link he was showing is the same information that customer would have available to him through that Connect. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and we're going to end this one, and we're going to start another session on Q&A in just a couple minutes.
Hi, I'm Deanna, and we just did a tour of the Fleet Monitoring Center here in Peoria, Illinois. Mark was nice enough to show us all around, and right now we're going to ask him a few questions that we saw come in while we were doing the Periscope. So Mark, the map on the wall out there is awesome with all of the little yellow dots, and I know you made a nod to the number of assets that we're currently monitoring, but can you tell the people watching again just how many assets Caterpillar's monitoring?
Sure, exactly. There's over 350,000 assets that's communicating information into CAT.
And how many different centers do you have globally that are tracking this information?
So currently CAT has one fleet monitoring center, and that's here. And there's investigations and looking into putting fleet monitoring centers other places around the world. But dealers around the world have fleet monitoring center, multiple dealers.
Now within these monitoring centers, I assume you monitor all different types of equipment, covering all different industries. So what industry specifically does this focus on?
Sure, and we can monitor all kinds of equipment, energy and transportation. We monitor equipment in the construction industry and mining industry.
Okay, and is this monitoring service available for customers with mixed fleet? I know a lot of our customers have that.
Sure, exactly. And that question's been asked multiple times. And we can monitor equipment. You connect the asset and the information it can send us, we can take a look at it.
And how does monitoring like this offer our customers lower operating costs and more solutions for them as a whole?
Another good question. As I alluded to earlier, when you talk about building a puzzle or putting pieces together, imagine if you wait until equipment is completely failed before you fix it. If you can catch that before failure, you've saved yourself money. There's less downtime involved in it. So as a matter of fact, if you can schedule that repair and not have the machine fail, now you've got that opportunity to schedule it, get the manpower there, have the parts available, have less downtime. Oftentimes a machine that's down for maintenance costs more because it's down than the actual repair cost. So helping that customer to monitor the equipment, to see things happen before it becomes a problem, lots of opportunities. There are customers out there, and I know I'm continuing to go on with this, but there's so many areas. Fuel consumption. If you can look at the amount of fuel consumption and you can start thinking about how much idle time, if you let your car idle 40% of the time, your fuel consumption would be a lot higher, your miles per gallon would be a lot lower because you're sitting idling. So there's another great area where a customer can save money with condition monitoring and with connecting his asset.
You know, I was really surprised